Cool. Hey, just like, because I was like feedback and before, it's kind of sounds and stuff. So. Yeah, I'm asking. I could use the mic, right? It's not too much. It's small, but Okay, cool. Sweet. So I can move on. My name is Samir Rao. You might see me with the hum tones. You probably know me better as Ben Kingsley's stunt double from the movies Gandhi and In the House of Sand and Fog. The scene where he was shot in the face. That I took that bullet. I'm just kidding. I'm not that old. Are there any fans of video games in the audience?
Woo!
And by the way, I'm not talking about save the princess from the dark gallows and the entire world will be enveloped in dark things types of video games. I'm talking about nuclear holocaust apocalypse, save the world with a six-shot pistol and a bottle of napalm types of video games. Your Halos, your Fallouts, games like that. I think games like that are pretty fun, but I think they're really socially irresponsible because they just depict these really, really awful dystopian situations, and apparently humanity will have the tools to get through them all, right? But the people who are best at those games are the least likely to save us in that type of instance. And I feel like that reflects reality much more than what you see in these movies. Has anyone ever seen Children of Men?
Yeah.
That scene where it's the one continuous shot of Clive Owen pushing a car while everyone shot point blank at him and kept on missing. Because apparently during the apocalypse, no one can aim. I'm just wondering where was the guy that was holding an Xbox controller with that seat, trying to push up on it, oh God, change the weapon! Oh God, why do they keep shooting? Yeah, I don't do sex. Well, or often. I will tonight, no.
Let's go.
I don't because I find it confusing. Not sex itself, but because that sticks and holes is pretty methodical and obvious. But what I don't get is sort of lead up sex, because I don't think that there's one formula. You get a girl to come home with you. I'll give you an example. So one time I was at a party and I was flirting back and forth with this girl. It had been happening for a couple of weeks. So I thought something was gonna happen. So I get ready to leave, and I'm like, hey, do you want to come back with me? And she seemed a little resistant. So I knew I had to sober up my good wit and stuff, or I'd go home alone. And sober up and get my good wit, I should say. It's my first time speaking English. So I basically said these words that will be forever enshrined in time, which are, I won't do anything you're uncomfortable with. I mean, it sounds weird, but shit worked. She came back with me. And I know it sounds weird, and it's probably a pretty poor reflection when you can basically say, hey, I'm the only guy at the party who won't sexually assault you, and use that as a pickup line. But the point is, this is actually a drug, it's a drinking advisory thing, because I was drunk. So since I was drunk, I got cocky. And what happened was when we got back, I turned off all the lights, took off all my clothes and put on D'Angelo's Untitled. And I started pouring Dr. Pepper all over my body and going how does this feel? And she ran away. So the point of the story is, don't drink, because you will pour Dr. Pepper all over your body and think that you're being sexy when you just look like a dumbass. Is it hitting a little too close to home for you? I apologize 5 times.
Let's go!
Don't get the hint. You know what? Just imagine how bad it was for me having to wash all that off. So I gotta be honest with you guys. When Anya told me that she wanted me to perform and said, hey, can you include drugs and alcohol stuff in your bit without condoning it, I was a little confused. Since I perform music and comedy, I'm an alcoholic by definition. But, there are some very real dangers to drugs. I can find a piece of paper I had. Yeah, I was once tapped by people back home, public access television show to do some anti-drug kind of things when I was a teenager. So I want to just recite some of the maxims I sort of created when I was there. Case by case with drug. So don't do meth. unless you want to look like you got hit in the face with a 2x4 or like a gremlin. Don't shoot heroin because you'll keep trying to fall over but not be able to. Don't do cocaine, as it's the only drug that makes a flock of seagulls bearable to listen to, and that's not a good thing. And the last one is, don't use purple drink, which if you don't know what that is, it's codeine put in a cough syrup or Baltic or something. Don't do that because it might seem cool that everything's really slow and you're having a lot of fun listening to Lil Jon records with his voice really low, until you realize it's because you're dying. Anya, how much time do I have? Cool, well, I can be here all night though. Awesome. Smoke them if you got them. Yeah, okay, well I'll tell one more. So I started doing this comedy thing when I was interning at a comedy theater in Boston over the summer. I was working as a marketing intern there. Part of what they had me do is they had this camp and a show that was geared at families and children. They wanted me to go through Massachusetts state camping listings to sort of advertise this show. I'm prefacing this because I don't want you to think I'm a pedophile when I say I was looking at children's camp listings. I'm not a pedophile. I'm really not. No punchline to that. So, but I came across this banner on the website for, it was like, included a quote by this guy named Charles Eliot. Now, for those of you who don't know, Charles Eliot was a president of Harvard during the 1920s. And the quote goes like this. A few weeks spent in a well-organized summer camp may be of more value educationally than a whole year of formal schoolwork. Now, I mean, this seems kind of innocuous until you realize a couple of things. One, this is the president of Harvard, which makes this like really, really condescending. And also, as the president of Harvard during the 1920s, which meant this was probably taken out of the rejection letter of someone that he didn't think was fit to get into the college, which in the 20s probably meant an Irishman or a Jew or a black guy, because racism happened in the 20s, I don't know if you know. So I was really curious as to what this letter might have looked like. And I went to the Harvard archives, and I found the letter that he'd written. I'm going to read it to you now. Dear Mr. McLaughlin / Goldstein / random black person, are you fucking serious? Did you really think you'd get away with this? I mean, you're more than qualified with straight A's and honors-worthy community service commitments, but this is Harvard. I mean, fucking Harvard. Only real white people get into here. I mean, it's the fucking 20s. Did you forget that while you were out drinking yourself stupid / trying to take all my money / trying to steal my daughter from the room? Okay, if you think it's bad, like, it gets worse. Well, the good news is you can get more out of the summer camp far, far away from me than you ever could here. There you'll learn how to be resourceful, learn about your history, take some transferable skills back to UMass / Brandeis / Howard University. Oh my God, it was the 20s, come on. At Harvard, all you learn is how not to ever realize your dreams of being a wealthy, landed, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Like me. So good luck and try again in about 40 years. You Mitch / Joe Schmo / Nubian bastard. That's all the time I have, thank you.